Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and I have a card to share for Jaded Blossom's February challenge. Hey everybody, so I'm using an embossing folder from Gemini along with the fancy heart dies from Jaded Blossom and the special delivery stamp set from Jaded Blossom. So that is the embossing folder. I have no idea what it's called. I think it came with my machine. So I went ahead and I cut a piece. Well, first of all, I colored the image and cut it out using my Brother Scan and Cut with a 0.4 border. Then I went ahead and I cut out a piece of Kraft cardstock at 4 1/8 by 4 1/8. And I'm going to be adding it to a Pure Poppy square card base, a 4.25 inch one. So 4.25 by 8.5, squared at 4.25 inches. And that's about it. So that Kraft cardstock is Nina Desert Storm 80 pound. There we go. Now I'll try to come up with the markers that I used to color this image, but I did color it quite a while ago. So, I'll be guesstimating because for some reason I didn't write down the colors like I normally do. There we go. Now, the cool thing is that Jaded Blossom is coming out with outline dies for this stamp set. So that is amazing. So if you have this stamp set, you can use that. So I went ahead and I cut out the same size of Kraft cardstock again. And then I cut the fancy heart die from the center of it, the solid one. And I'm going to be using that on the inside of my card, just for, a little something, something. So I'll add that on to the inside. I just got to make sure it lines up. You'll notice that I'm using that cheapo tape runner again, trying to use up my supplies. And actually, you know what? I think I cut that one at 4. I think it's a 4-inch square. Sorry, guys, not 1/8 of an inch like on the front. But there you go. And I am loving that heart embossed background from Gemini. I did use my Gemini machine for all my die cutting. So there we go. So this is the fancy heart die. That was cut out of Doodlebug's Sea Glass cardstock. And that was a leftover piece from another card. I always save them and put them in the package. And it matched with my theme that I was going with for that special delivery stamp set. And I'm just going to be sticking it down using my art glitter glue. I like it. It's in a little cheapo bottle from Amazon with the needle tip. And I quite like that. So I'm going to add that to the front of my card. As you can tell, I did not speed this up. Oh, sorry, I'm not adding it to the front of my card. I'm adding it first to the plain Kraft heart that I cut out. And then I'll be adding that to my card. So the challenge this month over at the Jaded Blossom blog is to use Kraft cardstock. So, come along and play with us. I'm also using, I pulled out the Candy Charms and banner die, and I cut out the banner out of that same Nina Desert Storm 80 pound cardstock. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment special delivery in VersaFine Claire Nocturne ink. Now, like I was saying about the challenge, come and play along. You just have to use Kraft cardstock and then use some sort of Jaded Blossom product on your design, and then you can enter it in. And I'd love to see what you come up with. These challenges are great because, it helps us stretch our wings as designers. And it's lots of fun, and I love to see what everyone creates for these things. So, make sure to go on over to the Jaded Blossom blog and be inspired by everyone. And, maybe, like I said, join the fun and add a project there. There we are. So now I'm also using the Xoxo Stamp Set. And I did not use the outline die because I stamped it onto Paper Tray Ink white cardstock. And I cut it out of white cardstock using the Mini Tag Dies 3. That's like another really useful die set that I use all the time. There we go. So now I'm going to put together this card. This is a real quickie. Even my coloring on that mailbox was super quick. I don't go too crazy. So I'm going to quickly add that to the center of my card base. Like I say in the past, I always try to, make a nest, like make a spot for my image and my sentiment. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of sticking this down. Now you'll notice that this was not sped up. This is real time. I do stop the video to grab stuff here and there, but generally this is the speed in which I craft. So there we go. So now I'm going to be adding, a little bit of paper to the back of this so I don't get any dips, height variances when you're doing layers. This is all Christy Marcotte's fault. She has an amazing channel and she does, make sure everything's level. And I swear, as soon as she pointed that out, I'm like, she's right. There is a little dip in this. So I've been brought over to the dark side of using paper to kind of make things more level. I can't help myself now. It's a sickness. So there we go. So we're going to stick this down. I'm going to use 3M foam tape. And I've got a big roll of this stuff that I always keep in my craft room. Just using my EK Success scissors to trim the tape because it has non-stick blades. And then I'll peel off the back and stick that on. I always forget about these candy charms and banners. Yeah, they're meant for the candies. Like they've got the, little decorative things for the candies. But the little banners in there are fabulous. And I always forget about them. And every once in a while I'm like, oh, I got to use those candy charms and banners. And that's what I did here. That special delivery sentiment fit perfectly in there. Now, not sure if I said this, but Pure Poppy is my favorite red cardstock that there is. It's just perfect from Paper Tray Inc., my favorite. So if I'm going to make a card base out of red cardstock, you're darn tootin', that's the one I use because it's just my favorite. I love it. I love the thickness of Paper Tray Inc. Cardstock, or the weight, I guess you'd say. It's just fabulous. It always, it stands up. It makes a nice crisp card. And, folding that card base, remember, I always use a Teflon bone folder. If you don't have one of those, you should get one because they really are great. They don't leave any marks on your cardstock. And that was something that drove me crazy because, I'm a little OCD and crazy when it comes to that, and I'll admit it. And it used to drive me crazy when there were marks near my score lines of my card bases, and now there isn't. It's perfect. So if you're a little bit crazy like me, you might want to get a Teflon bone folder. And there we are. You can see I'm adding, a paper layer again, just to make sure this is all level when I go to stick it down. Because, I've got to stick it over that heart, the 2 layers there, So I'm going to use my cheapo glue runner there to stick it down once I get everything in place. And there we go. So yeah, this was a really quick little design for Valentine's Day. And I don't know if you send out Valentine's Day cards, but I do. I try to send out these cards that I make every year because, you go to all the effort of making them, and I really don't want to die buried under thousands of cards. Like I'll be like a card hoarder. You'll find my dead body buried under like pounds and pounds of hundreds of pounds of cards that have toppled over on me. So to avoid that, I try to mail them out. So I do mail them out for, all the different holidays. The one holiday that I don't always have enough is St. Patrick's Day. But, I mail them out like usually every second year I get enough cards. So cards created that I can mail out to everyone. And I tend to send them out to friends and family. And it's fun to get something in the mail that isn't a bill, something handmade. And it's just fun, I think. So there we go. There's my cute little mailbox. And like I said, I will try to add the colors. It'll be guesstimating though. I also used my Secure White Jelly Roll pen to add some highlights. And there we go. Like, how cute is that? I just think it turned out great. And I always forget to use embossing folders. It's not like I've got a bazillion of them. But for some reason, I always forget them. And you guys got to pull them out. Like, they really do make a great background. So there I am. I'm going to add that little heart that's also stamped from that set. I'm going to slip that in there with a little bit of art glitter glue and some tweezers. There we go. And just making sure it's stuck down. And I quite like that. It turned out pretty cute. I decided to go ahead and use the Mini Tag Dies 3 and cut out the corners because I thought that it just kind of needed something in the corners. I don't know. You can tell me what you think. If you think I went overboard or if you think it added something. So I'm adding the little corners. Those are cut out of the same Doodlebug textured cardstock in sea glass. And I chose that cardstock because I have a little bit of teal on my design. And I don't know, I think teal and red go great together for Valentine's Day. So now I'm adding the little corners, just gluing them flat down to the card using the art glitter glue. And I don't know, I just think that it added something. It needed something in the corners. It looked a little bit too plain. I find that I don't like using a die cut with stitching and then running it through the embossing folder after, because it messes up the stitching. And then if you do it the other way, it flattens the embossing. So to me, if you're going to use an embossed background, probably don't use a stitched die cut. You know, I tend to, you know, emboss a larger area than I need, and then I cut it down to the size I need using my guillotine trimmer, just so things don't get flattened. Or sometimes when you use an embossing folder, it changes the sizing of your piece. So just keep that in mind. And there we go. So I think the corners added something personally. But like I said, if you don't think so, leave me a comment below and tell me what you think. And then there we go. So thank you so much for stopping by. Be sure to hop on over to the Jaded Blossom blog and, you know, maybe play along with the craft challenge going on in February. And, you know, you can hop on over to the Jaded Blossom store, maybe get your hands on these things. And remember, there are outline dies for the special delivery stamp set now. So thank you. And we will see you soon in my next video. Bye, everyone.